I'm an astronaut and I just brought something that could end mankind on the ship. Space is not empty. People like to think it's an endless void of vast nothingness where only stars and dead rocks exist, but after what I've seen, after what I've done, I know the truth. There are things out here, things we were never meant to find. And now one of them is with us. Day 1. The mission was routine, a deep space research expedition to the farthest edge of our solar system, where we were to collect samples from an unidentified asteroid that had been drifting near Neptune's orbit. I was one of 6 crew members aboard the Icarus 7, a state-of-the-art exploratory vessel equipped for long-haul missions. The others were Captain Reynolds, our mission lead, Dr. Patel, the ship's medical officer, Lopez, the chief engineer, Kaminsky, the pilot, and Dr. Harlow, a xenobiologist. The asteroid was unusual. It wasn't on any existing charts, and its composition didn't match anything we'd encountered before. NASA suspected it might be a fragment of a rogue planet torn apart eons ago. It was my job to collect samples. That's when everything went wrong. Day 3. I remember stepping onto the asteroid's surface, my boots crunching against its brittle crust. The gravity was weaker than expected, but my suit compensated for the instability. I activated my scanner. The readings made no sense. The asteroid wasn't just rock. It had organic material embedded within it. I dug my gloved fingers into the surface and pulled out a fragment. The moment I did, a deep vibration hummed through the asteroid, as if I had disturbed something sleeping. That's when I saw it. A black, pulsating mass buried just beneath the crust, shifting as if it were alive. I should have left it alone. I should have told the captain we needed to leave. But I didn't. I took a sample, and I brought it onto the ship. Day 5. At first everything seemed fine. The sample was contained in the lab, secured behind layers of quarantine measures. Dr. Harlow was ecstatic, running every test she could think of. The organism, if that's what it was, showed no cellular structure, no DNA. It was something entirely new. That night, I dreamed of it. I saw it in my mind, shifting, growing. It whispered to me in a language I couldn't understand. I woke up in a cold sweat. Day 6. Lopez was the first to fall sick. He started complaining about headaches and nausea, then collapsed while repairing the ship's oxygen system. Dr. Patel examined him but found nothing wrong. His vitals were normal, but his pupils were off. They were dilated, almost black. By midday, Kaminsky started showing symptoms too. We ran tests, but nothing explained it. The ship's air, food, and water were all clean. That's when Dr. Harlow checked the sample. It had grown. The small fragment I had retrieved was no longer inert. It had expanded, spreading thin tendrils against the inside of the containment unit. And there was something else. It was moving. Day 7. Kaminsky died today. We found him in his bunk, his body rigid, mouth frozen in a silent scream. His veins were black, bulging against his pale skin. Dr. Patel tried to perform an autopsy, but when she cut into him, something moved beneath his flesh. Then he opened his eyes. Day 8. We locked Kaminsky's corpse in the airlock. He wasn't dead. Not completely. His body twitched, his lips moving as if trying to speak, but the voice that came out wasn't his. It was ours. Snippets of our conversations repeated back at us in a hollow, distorted mimicry. Dr. Harlow begged us to let her study him. Captain Reynolds refused. We jettisoned him into space, but it was too late. Whatever was inside him, it was already spreading. Day 9. Lopez started changing next. He stopped speaking and just stared at us. His eyes were black, now fully consumed. His veins pulsed with something dark, something alive. We tried to restrain him, but he was too strong. He moved with an unnatural speed, his limbs bending at angles they shouldn't. He killed Dr. Patel. We barely managed to force him into the quarantine bay. He slammed against the glass over and over, his lips stretching into something that wasn't a smile. Then he spoke. Or rather, it spoke. We are awake. Day 10. The organism is no longer contained. Dr. Harlow is missing. Captain Reynolds and I are the only ones left. The ship is wrong. The walls pulse as if breathing shadows move where they shouldn't. And I hear them. Kaminsky, Patel, Lopez. Their voices echo through the corridors, calling my name. They are not human anymore. Neither is Harlow. I saw her standing at the end of the hallway, her head tilted at an unnatural angle, her black eyes unblinking. She whispered something to me. It wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. Day 11. Captain Reynolds is dead. I found him in the control room, his body torn open from the inside. The ship is drifting now, off course, heading deeper into uncharted space. I don't know how much longer I have. I can feel it inside me. Moving, growing. I should have never brought it aboard. I should have left it buried in the dark. Now, it's awake. And soon, it will reach Earth.